It's 4:15, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome back from the break. My name is Shoshana Mostoller, and I am the Community Engagement Manager for the Chesapeake Humane Society. I'm also your moderator for this session. For anyone with a visual impairment, I am a middle-aged Caucasian woman with brown wavy hair, brown eyes. I'm wearing reading glasses and a sage green sweater. So you've joined the short talk today called Cross-Agency Collaborations. The short talk is going to review the importance of cross-agency collaborations in animal welfare, and we'll use the Animal Welfare League of Arlington as a case study for coordinating and building relationships across government departments. So I'm going to introduce our short talk speaker. Our short talk speaker today is Jennifer Toussaint. She is the Chief of Animal Control in Arlington County, Virginia. She's at the Animal Welfare League of Arlington. Jennifer joined the animal control team in early 2012 as a deputy and accepted the chief position in 2016. Since becoming chief, Jennifer has implemented a local ordinance in relation to exotic animal care and ownership. She has also expanded the animal control department's outreach efforts in providing additional support to pet owners to enable high owner pet retention in the community. She specializes nationally in humane urban wildlife management practices and has been published multiple times on the topic and presented at the 2017 Humane Society of the United States Expo, as well as the National Animal Control Association Conference. Jennifer is a CIT trained officer and has trained animal control and welfare professionals on a variety of topics, including emergency preparedness, active listening, emotional support, and service animals, neglect and cruelty investigations, and wildlife intake and triage. Jennifer is the 2017 recipient of the Virginia Animal Control Association Dr. Kent Roberts Animal Control Officer of the Year and received a commendation from the Virginia General Assembly for her service. In 2020, Jennifer's department won the Outstanding Agency of the Year Award from the Virginia Animal Control Association. She's a graduate of Moravian College with a bachelor's degree in political science and Spanish, and she shares her home with her rescue dogs, Reagan and Ducky. Thank you for joining us, Jen.
Thank you so much, Shoshana. I really appreciate that. I am going to jump into sharing my screen while I continue to introduce myself. Today, I'm so excited that everybody is joining. My name is Jennifer Toussaint. I am the chief at the Animal Welfare League of Arlington. I am a white female cisgender in my mid-30s. I have my hair pulled back in a ponytail that is sandy brown, and I am wearing a floral shirt today. I have the My Dog is My Home background on behind me. So proud to be joining everybody today in the great work that's been going on during this conference. Today, we're going to be talking about cross-agency collaborations. My PowerPoint slides throughout are a mix of the colors of my organization in shades of green and blue. For those joining, should you have any questions, Shoshana is going to be amazingly moderating the chat and Q&A down below. I really love to incorporate your feedback into the presentation as we go. A lot of your feedback and actually kind of a deep dive is going to occur after the next break if you want to continue and join me. So let's talk about building bridges to improve the lives of animals and people in our community. So also just to name it up front, unfortunately, I was diagnosed with the flu this morning, so I'm a little under the weather. If you're having a hard time understanding me, please drop down into the chat and let them know. We could do something like turning on the annotation, for instance, if that's needed. So a little bit about the Animal Welfare League of Arlington. We are a private nonprofit organization in Arlington, Virginia, just on the opposite side of the Potomac River from Washington, D.C. We have a public contract with the county to host animal control and sheltering services. Total staff within the organization is just over 50 positions. I am the chief of animal control. I have served in Arlington County 11 years as of 4 days ago. My department specifically only has 7 officers serving over 250,000 residents and millions of visitors annually. So we're going to talk about how to prioritize the work that we do, right, when there's so much work to get done. Our mission is to improve the lives of animals and people by providing resources, care, and protection. Pets are the source of comfort for families. We truly like to honor the bond between pets and people, and we work and strive every single day to keep pets and their families together. Our goal is to mitigate those intakes to the best of our ability, and also to offer a judgment-free environment where people come down to receive services from us. I use the word strive also, as you can see on the PowerPoint, because I always think this is something that's in progress. I don't think any of us do 100% of the work 100% of the time. And I think that we need to continue to improve ourselves and work in this area to make sure that we're creating environments that are safe for community members to come and receive services. I'm not going to talk too much about all of the services that we have. Here's just a highlight, for instance, of many of the services that we do. I have watched some of the other presentations throughout this conference that have talked about more in-depth opportunities and services. I think Shoshana, shout out to her, actually talking about housing emergency lifeline opportunities and safekeeping opportunities for pets. I am going to highlight some of the key programs, though, that we do that do have a lot of cross-agency collaboration, because I think it's important to know what parts of the work that you do are going to speak to others that have no background in animal welfare, for instance, and then what parts of the work that we do that speak to our own interagency communications, working with shelters in your region, working with your local rescues. There's kind of a difference to this work. So we offer veterinary assistance grants. This is something that is highly sought after in our region. We actually offer grants now to people outside of our own county pretty frequently. We do it not only for emergencies, but for chronic conditions as well. And we have offered grants up to $1,000 for individual pets to receive emergent care. So why do I highlight, for instance, a grant opportunity? You're going to see down below when we're talking about creating these bridges between the work that we do and the work that all the other organizations in our regions do. These key programs are the kind of programs that you're going to want to uplift and share when we're doing these collaborative presentation opportunities. Our Housing Emergency Lifeline for Pets, I already mentioned once. Our HELP program is our safekeeping program. We temporarily house at no charge to residents of Arlington County, Falls Church City board at our shelter or in foster homes that are pre-approved by our organization. This is absolutely no cost to the owner. It begins with a 2-week stay, but many of these cases extend to months long. We spay, neuter, and provide vaccines free of cost during that stay as well, if those pets are coming in with us. And we consider a lot of broad things as an emergency. Something that's very big, for instance, in our region is mental health crisis. And so that is absolutely considered an emergency. And we do provide that free housing services for individuals suffering crisis. So I think these kinds of programs are important to kind of know the P's and Q's of, so that when you're offering these bridges to other organizations, it's this kind of foundational work that we're going to stand on. Similarly, if like us, you have community care clinics or vaccine clinics, this is really important to highlight the work that you do in the community and build that intersectionality. For instance, our community care clinics also offer human COVID vaccines and test ability. So, and we'll talk about in a second how that relationship was garnered and how that built an even larger bridge between the work that we do and our Department of Health. So also, we like to think about clinics in 2 separate spheres. There's clinics that happen on site, so at our property, and there's clinics that happen out in the community. And I think it's important to kind of gauge how many of each you're doing. For many, many years, we thought we were doing an amazing job by holding 15 clinics a year. But when you actually drill down into it, 13 of those 15 were held on site at our organization. So truly, what's the approachability of that kind of program if a lot of it's occurring in the same place over and over again? Are you running demographics? Are you changing where you offer these opportunities? And then how are you going to get into the places that you need to get into? And we'll talk about that in a second. And then our pet pantry support. We feed hundreds of families' pets every single month through this program. It is a judgment-free zone. You can come into our shelter, or you will see us at many off-site events partnered with local nonprofits, providing human and pet food simultaneously. There is no income requirement whatsoever. We don't ask for any paperwork. We just ask for your name and the number of pets in your household. And if you provided a name that wasn't your name, we wouldn't know any better, and that wouldn't be a problem. I like to call it Operation Food and Bellies. We truly believe you when you take the food that it's going to go to feed a pet in need, and that's really the importance of it. And so these are kind of what I like to say are pillar programs. Like I said before, we have hundreds of programs that we do, but these pillar programs are going to be maybe where you consider starting today at building that collaborative relationship. So one of the initial things, if you're looking at your pillar programs, is to decide who do we need to create relationships with. One of the places that we like to start at the Animal Welfare League was our local veterinary clinics. Now, in an urban jurisdiction like ours, we have lots of opportunities. We have over 20 veterinary clinics in 26 square miles. Forgive me, I'm going to take a sip of water. So we have lots of opportunity to create that relationship. For instance, what if you reside in a more rural jurisdiction where there's only 1 or 2 veterinary clinics that you can have this relationship with? Whether it's 1 or 20, they still have the same amount of value. When we talked about engaging with our local veterinary clinics, we wanted it to be something that was mutual. So not only were we hoping to garner vouchers, for instance, which we could offer to marginalized community members to ensure that their pets could gain access to low-cost spay, neuter services and vaccines. My goodness, and vaccines, we wanted to offer something in exchange. So one of the things that we sat down and talked about was, what is something that we as an organization can actually offer to local veterinary clinics? And we thought about things like future clients. Our adopters are a potential client for them. So one of the trade-offs, for instance, is they offer, I am so sorry, I wish I was not so sick today. They offer the ability to provide those vouchers, and we in turn include their clinic's information in our adoption kits that go home with adopters. Then there's the added benefit of things like supplies. We like to take extra towels and things that we have and provide those to our local veterinary clinics, sanitized and folded, as a way to keep that face relationship with them and engage with them on a more regular basis. That's not asking them for the favor. It's actually providing support. We also do roundtables of donuts and other, fun and exciting things to build that relationship and reduce those barriers. In turn, we get hundreds of vouchers every single year. We went through over 300 vouchers just in the month of February at local veterinary clinics, where we could give a voucher to a client to go into an actual private veterinary clinic, establish a relationship, and receive veterinary care for their pet. So these kinds of relationships are invaluable, but remember that these relationships are exchanges. It can't just be all favors. You have to bring something to the table also to offer. So think introspectively, what can you offer to them to build the relationship in both directions? Housing and homelessness support. Again, if we're talking about our key pillars that we're going to build, I would strongly encourage you to lean in this area. One of the things that we like to advocate for is being a part of conversations. So many months ago, about 2 years ago, the county had discussions about homelessness. Animal welfare, the Animal Welfare League of Arlington was present in all of those rooms. We got invited to the table, we had something to say and something to add, and we worked with the county to help the county centralize intake. So one of the issues that I pointed out, for instance, as a first responder, is if I meet an individual suffering homelessness, or we're in a transient relationship, meaning going house to house, where do I start? Like, what do I give to them? How do I start to engage them in the many different opportunities that lots of our jurisdictions offer? It can be really confusing, right? I know that even when we look at our own programs in animal welfare, it can be very confusing. Is there a minimum requirement? Do I have to complete paperwork? What's the process? Who do I initially talk to? Is there an intake protocol for being a part of that program? It can get very confusing. It's the same thing on human services side. So we talked to them and I said, as a first responder, this is extremely confusing. And then trying to decide what nonprofit to call for them becomes like the ultimate task. So we actually worked with the county and we now have centralized intake for all nonprofits suffering homeless, or not all of the nonprofits and public agencies that oversee emergency housing support in Arlington. So this generalized intake now honors the dignity of those patients coming in, and it provides the opportunity for us as animal welfare partners to really have this beautiful outline across all of those agencies. Similarly, we carry their supportive materials. So these, for instance, are human support kits that are in all the animal control officers' vehicles. We work with volunteers at our organization. When we get requests from the public on items to donate, we actually have creating these kits for field services for animal control as one of the opportunities. We get upwards of 50 to 60 of these a year. We get more of them than the police or fire department gets, and more than the local domestic violence nonprofit gets, which is just astronomical to me, but we like to share. But these are in the animal control vehicles, and we gauge them based off of the season. So I just took a picture of this literally 2 days ago because we are still in the cold here in Virginia. So we have these cold care kits with us in all of our trucks. We also carry pet support kits, but these human support kits also have now all of the information and inclusivity for individuals suffering homelessness on human housing support, right? So how can we start to cross-intersect the work that we do so that no matter whom a person comes in contact with, they know all of the opportunities that they have in your community? One of the things that I cannot highlight enough in this work is please do not leave out your first responding agencies. These people see more than many of us could ever hope to see. Additionally, we would include animal control in this if you are not, for instance, a part of field services or animal control. But don't forget that these kind of governmental relationships can have immense benefits to your organization. So it's a great opportunity, for instance, for offsite event support. We just had this huge community care clinic last Saturday. We got 200 more people than we expected to get at the event. And we suddenly needed assistance with blocking a lane of traffic. Thankfully, our community outreach police officers were there out of uniform, but perfectly able to do traffic mitigation assistance for us so that those of us in animal welfare could still stay focused on the task at hand of getting all of these lovely animals vaccinated and getting them through all the services that they needed. And also these individuals can do mutual fundraising opportunities. So we do Operation Fire Pause every single year here in Arlington County. This was the one, we do it every November. This is last November's winter donation drive. The firefighters collect donations for the shelter and the community at all of our fire locations. We have 10 stations, and they bring them down to the shelter. The white dog in this picture, his name was Reggie, and they actually helped us create a video for Reggie. Reggie was deaf. He cannot hear. Actually, they created a video where they turned the fire engines on, and Reggie had no effect because he could not hear the fire engines. And they were talking about like what a blessing that would be, that you didn't have a dog that was scared by loud sounds and all of those other things. They can be great advocates for the animals that you have. They're also amazing fosters. We love to engage them in that kind of work, especially our police canine unit, for instance, has helped us with placement or adopting dogs that might be a little bit drivier than some other pets. So think about the different opportunities here. Can you collaborate, and what do those relationships look like, and how do we showcase those to the community? Don't leave out our future animal welfare advocates in this work. When we talk about creating cross-agency relationships, we tend to leave out children. And I think that that is something that we need to work on in animal welfare. These are not relationships that you might see added value back from immediately. I think you will. But additionally, youth programs and those volunteer opportunities for children in your organizations and in the work that you're doing are extremely important. This will create partnership opportunities, for instance, with local career centers that can aid in the creation of an animal services track. We did that here in Arlington County, and those high schoolers come out of those animal services tracks and they come in as animal care technicians, as staff members at our organization. Like, there can be true benefit to engaging young people where they are so that you have true added value at your organization. Similarly, these programs can branch out into larger relationships. Do you have a relationship with your local public school system? This is a great place to start. Your libraries, your local troops, and youth-focused nonprofits. Really important, and I'll show you in our community care clinics how that relationship shows up. Okay. So working to decrease waiting in lines. One of the really important things that we focused on here at the Animal Welfare League of Arlington was we have all these amazing relationships. How do we leverage ourselves as an organization to truly start to embody the values that we have towards honoring the dignity of the people that we serve, especially when engaging with certain populations of our community? So at the start of COVID, we started these community care clinics. We started pushing them out into the community, creating targeted relationships with key local partners where these community members were at, whether this was a faith-based organization or the local community center. Where was everybody trusting that an event like this could take place and would have added value? And then we invited everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean absolutely everybody. Our Arlington Food Assistance Center. So you would stand in line just once. You would be able to get a full wellness checkup and vaccines for your pet, COVID testing and vaccines for your family, food and food stamp support services for your family, food for your pet, assistance from the Department of Health in all of the services that they offer. Bridges to Independence is a nonprofit that does housing supportive services and offers grants. We taught individuals how to engage in doing things as baseline as farming and getting out into our parks. We had emergency management coming and providing kits to marginalized families so that they could have a preparedness kit. We had a nonprofit called Read Early and Daily, handing out bilingual and trilingual books to the children that were standing in line. What kind of opportunities could you offer as an organization if you brought everybody to the same place? I am so sorry that I am coughing so much. It's really important when we're honoring the dignity of the work that we do in these spaces that we provide these opportunities in a holistic manner. If we're going to have families come together and wait in line for something like this, how much added benefit could they get from attending that one event? And then the word started to spread. And now there's over 20 tables at these events because one nonprofit told another nonprofit, hey, did you hear what the Animal Welfare League of Arlington is doing? They'll literally let you come with a table. As long as you're willing to offer your services and be inclusive in the offerings that you're bringing, they'll make room for you at this event. And so that's why we call them community care clinics, because it really goes so much further beyond just pets and their families at this point. So don't forget to think outside the box in this work. All relationships are important. I don't know where you and your organization are at in the relationships that you're forming in your community. Many of us have long-standing relationships, but never forget that there's always an added bridge to build. An example of that just showed up last week in the work is that we have a really kind relationship with a local auto stop place. It's called Arlington Auto Stop. They have aided us when the animal control vehicles have gotten a flat tire last minute. They've actually sponsored some of our nonprofit walk events and other things. It's just a local family auto repair center. Well, lo and behold, this adorable stray cat gets stuck in the engine belt of a car, and we call auto stop and go, we don't know what to do. The cat is truly stuck. They're like, we'll get someone out there, we'll tow you over, we'll cut the belt, we'll go through it. And they offered all of this free of service to the organization. Make sure when people are showing up in that way for you and you're relying on those relationships, you're giving a shout out, right? It's really important not to just do the work, but to highlight that cross collaborative work that you're doing. So when we're doing this work with other organizations, I know sometimes it can be hard to take a photo, but it's kind of really important to stop sometimes and take a photo and say thank you. And don't feel like you're limited to the work that you do, overlapping with private business or nonprofit work. There's really never an end to the relationships that you can create because of the intersectionality of pets over everything that we do. It's really important for us as animal welfare professionals to make sure that we're drawing the intersectionality of the work that we do with everyone else. We are advocating for how the work that we do has relationship to these other organizations. For instance, if you're going to reach out to a certain organization about the work that you do, have you tailored it to their clientele? When we reach out, of course, to the housing supportive services nonprofits, we talk about our housing emergency lifeline for pets. We don't talk about our wildlife program. That doesn't speak to them. But when we reach out to the fire department, we talk about our animal control and field services and the fact that they can carry supportive kits for pets to give out food and supplies to community members in need. Make sure that you're tailoring that relationship as you go. So I'm going to turn it back over to Shoshana to see if any questions have come in. I'm in just a couple minutes under.
Yes, thank you so much. We do have a couple questions, and I actually have a couple questions as well. And so I'm gonna take some from the chat, but I wanted to start off by asking you, like, lots of times when you're trying to forge a relationship, first of all, and also a lot of thank yous from you presenting while you're sick. And everyone's really impressed with you and your team as well and everything that you're doing. But when you're trying to form a relationship with an organization, lots of times it's hard to find that person within that organization that is really the one that can help you move forward. And then sometimes, even if you find that one person, it can be hard to get the word spread to the whole organization, right? Like you might think, oh, okay, I talked to this person, we had this great connection, they know exactly what I'm doing. And then you find out that really that word never got passed on, or if it did, it wasn't in a way where it really took hold. I'm just wondering if you can speak to what we can do when we're interacting with these other organizations to make sure that the word really gets spread to everybody.
Yeah, so I like to be memorable, right? So one of the things that I think makes me memorable is I'm always myself in these interactions. So I bring a real love and passion for the work, and I know that so many of us in animal welfare do. And when we're passionate about our work, when we talk about it, that makes it memorable to the people that we engage with. Additionally, when we're creating those initial relationships, like you said, Shoshana, it can be so hard. Did I reach out to the right person? In the next breakouts that we're going to do on cross collaboration, I actually talk through the levels of reaching out on like the value of things of emails versus in person and all of those different opportunities. But I like to offer something. When we're sending that initial email, make the offer. And one of the offers could be, hi, I've just learned about your nonprofit and the amazing work that you're doing here in the community. Say something specific. I heard that you now have this program. Even if it doesn't have intersectionality to your work, it means that they know you're invested in this. You've taken the time to learn what they're doing. I'm not exactly sure whom to talk to, so maybe you could direct me to the correct person. I'd love to offer an opportunity to do a staff presentation on our pet pantry program or on our kitten NICU and how that has impacts in your neighborhood. Name something specific and make an offer. I always find that highlighting something that they're doing that you're extremely impressed by and then making an offer, I never not get an email back.
I love that. And what I'm going to do is, since we have some questions, some of them are specific to your programs, I'm going to go ahead and move some of the questions from the chat into the question and answer so that you can answer them after the fact, or perhaps they'll even cross over to people who are coming to the next session, so that I'm just going to move them over for you into the question and answer session, because honestly, we're at the end of our time. And I know that you have so much good information, and I just really, really appreciate it. And thank you again.
Thank you, everyone. So sorry for the coughing throughout. My apologies.